in a quiet corner of a school most people never notice, where echoes of children's laughter fade into silence. A man named Mr. Samir walked alone. He wasn't a teacher. He wasn't a student. He was the janitor. A quiet figure in a gray uniform, always carrying a mop in one hand and a gentle smile on his face. But behind those tired eyes, behind that silent walk, was a story waiting to be told. Mr. Samir had worked at Greenfield High School for over 22 years. Every morning, before sunrise, he'd be the first to arrive, opening the gates, cleaning the staircases, making sure the bathrooms were spotless before the first bell rang. No one asked how he got there so early. No one asked if he had eaten. Most students didn't even know his name. To them, he was just the janitor. But to the building, he was its quiet soul. One teacher always smiled at him, Ms. Rita, a young literature teacher who had joined just 2 years ago. She once asked him, "Why do you always come so early?" He smiled, wiping chalk off the board. "So the children don't step into dirt. They should walk into a clean world every morning." She never forgot that line. As students filled the school, Samir faded into the background. He moved from one hallway to another, cleaning gum stuck under desks, wiping muddy footprints, fixing broken taps. Nobody noticed the man making it all work, but Samir didn't mind. This school was more than a job to him. It was a home. It was Friday evening. The halls were quiet. Only a few teachers were in meetings. The students had gone home. Samir, as always, was doing one final round. He entered the chemistry lab, checking if the Bunsen burners were off, wiping the benches, and that's when he saw it. Lying half under a desk, a brown leather wallet. He picked it up gently. It was expensive-looking, sleek stitching, initials carved in gold on the corner. He looked around. The room was empty. He opened the wallet, just enough to identify the owner. Inside, a student ID card, a stack of crisp cash, looked like 20,000 rupees. A few cards, a folded piece of paper. He read the name, Rian Ahmed. Grade 12. One of the most popular, richest, and arrogant students in school. Samir sighed. He had seen Rayan many times, loud, flashy, disrespectful to teachers, and never once had he returned Samir's salam. But this wasn't about that. This was about doing the right thing. Samir placed the wallet in a small steel drawer and locked it. He would return it first thing Monday morning, Samir's small home. Simple room, fan creaking, framed photo of a woman on the shelf. That night he made himself tea and sat quietly near his window. The wallet reminded him of something from long ago, his son. Years ago, before tragedy broke his heart. A moment flashed in his memory. A 9-year-old boy crying because he lost a small plastic wallet his father gave him. They searched for hours. When Samir found it, he remembered his son hugging him, tight. That son was no longer around. A car accident, a drunk driver, Samir never fully healed. That's why. When he saw Rayan's wallet, he didn't think of the boy's arrogance. He thought of his own son, and how even arrogant boys have parents who worry. Whispers filled the hallway. Someone stole Rayan's wallet. He had money in it. Like, a lot. Did you hear? The janitor was the last person seen near the lab. Samir looked up as a few students stared at him. One even laughed. Looks like someone got a weekend bonus, huh? He didn't say anything. He just continued cleaning. Later that morning, Ms. Rita came to him. Is it true? Someone lost a wallet? Samir nodded. I found it Friday evening. It's safe with me. He walked her to his janitor room, unlocked the drawer, and handed over the wallet. Unopened, unbothered. She smiled. You're too honest for this place, Samir Bhai. He just smiled faintly. I just did what was right. But not everyone thought so. During break time, Rayan stormed into the principal's office, shouting, "It's not all there. Some cash is missing. This is theft." He demanded the school check the janitor's room. A few teachers argued, especially Miss Rita, but the principal, under pressure, called Samir. "Principal, we're not accusing you, Samir, but Rayan claims something is missing." Samir looked calm. "I returned what I found. If anything is missing, I didn't take it." Rayan scoffed. "Yeah, right. You think we believe that?" Samir lowered his eyes. "I've worked here 22 years, sir. You know me." But doubt had crept in. The principal sighed. "We'll investigate this, Samir. In the meantime, we request you to stay away from the main school area." It felt like a slap. He had never been treated like this. Never questioned. He simply nodded and walked out. Samir, bye. "Don't worry, I'll find the truth." He gave a tired smile. "I'm old. I've faced worse. But thank you." That night, Samir walked home slower than usual. The school had been his pride, his peace. Now it felt like a cold building that didn't remember his years of service. But deep inside, he knew he had done the right thing. And somehow that would be enough. Or would it? Samir switches off the light in the janitor's room. The school hallway goes dark. Only the sound of a distant bell echoing in silence. Sometimes the people we ignore are the ones who carry the light. By Monday morning, Greenfield High was no longer just a school. It had become a place buzzing with whispers, doubt, and silent judgment. The lost wallet had turned into something bigger, a cloud hanging over someone who didn't deserve it. That someone was Mr. Samir. He totally took the money. You know how much was in there? Bro, Rayan said it was. Like 20 grand. That janitor probably went shopping. Shouldn't he be fired? They didn't know the truth. They didn't even care. They had already judged him. Mr. Samir had been working all morning, but today felt different. The smiles were gone. The nods had vanished. Even the walls felt colder. He could feel the stares. Not the kind that came from curiosity, but the kind that carried shame and suspicion. Rayan, the wallet's owner, was not keeping quiet. He made sure everyone heard his version of the story. "Man, I swear, there was 20,000 rupees in that wallet. When I got it back, it had barely 10. That guy totally pocketed it. He wasn't whispering, he was performing. And the audience? His classmates. They nodded, they gasped, they believed. Because Rayan was rich, Rayan was popular, Rayan was loud, and in schools, sometimes volume becomes truth. Some teachers began questioning things too. I mean, Samir's sweet and all, but you never really know people. It's hard to believe, but still. Where did the money go? Only Miss Rita stood firm. "No, I don't believe it. Not for a second." But her voice felt like a small candle in a dark storm. The principal had no choice. Rayan's parents had called in, furious. They demanded answers, apologies, and action. So the principal did what schools sometimes do when they're afraid. They looked for the safest person to blame. Samir was called in again. "Principal, Samir, we need to ask again. Are you absolutely sure you returned everything?" Samir nodded. "I didn't count the cash, sir. I just kept the wallet safe and returned it." Rayan interrupted. "And we're just supposed to take your word for it? You could have taken some out and thought no one would notice." Samir's face remained calm, but inside, something hurt deeply. He had worked here for over 2 decades. He had never once been questioned like this. "I understand your doubt," he said softly, "but I know what I did. My conscience is clear." The principal sighed. "We're not firing you, but until this is resolved, I think it's best you're placed on leave." Samir felt the ground shift beneath him. Leave? He was being pushed out, without proof, without a voice. The students watched as he walked past. No one said anything, not even a goodbye. Ms. Rita tried to stop him. "Samir, bye. This is wrong. I'll fix this, I promise." He gave a small smile. Injustice only wins when truth gives up. He had been here before. Once, long ago, someone had blamed him for a mistake he didn't make. Back then, he was younger. He fought, he screamed, but this time he was older and tired. That evening, Ms. Rita stayed late at school. She wasn't going to sit quietly. She requested access to the school's hallway cameras from Friday evening. One clip stood out. Time, 6:27 p.m., location, chemistry lab. She saw Samir walk in, mop in hand. He cleaned around, then stopped. He bent down, picked something up, looked around, and placed it in his pocket. Then he walked straight out, toward the janitor's room. There was no detour, no hesitation, no mischief. She kept watching. He went straight to his drawer and locked something inside. She paused the screen. She saw a man who looked more like a father than a thief, a man who had nothing to gain, but everything to lose. And that's when she found something odd. At around 3:45 p.m., Rayan walked into the chemistry lab. He looked nervous, almost as if he was checking something. Then he slipped something under a desk and walked out, grinning. It was the wallet. Miss Rita's eyes widen. She opens the footage timeline and looks further. She searched deeper. She knew something was wrong. Ms. Rita calls the principal at home. "Sir, I need to speak with you. I found something on the camera feed." Tishun. Principal sounded surprised. "Can't this wait till morning?" "No, sir. This changes everything." Principal's office, next morning. Ms. Rita shows the clips. First, she plays the footage of Rayan intentionally placing the wallet under the desk. Then, Samir picking it up and safely locking it. The principal leans back, speechless. "Are you saying—" "This was a setup," Ms. Rita nodded. "That's not all. There's more." She places a piece of paper on the desk. It was the folded note found in the wallet. No one had bothered to read it. She had. It was a cheat sheet, with answers to the upcoming chemistry exam. A note from Rayan. To his friend. "Keep this safe. I'm planting the wallet today. We'll say someone stole it, then they'll cancel the exam." The principal read it again, shocked. He picked up the phone. "Call Rayan's parents. Now." Rayan's parents arrive in a luxury car. Furious, they storm into the office, demanding answers, threatening lawsuits, until they see the footage, until they read the note. Suddenly, silence fills the room. Their faces change. Disappointment, embarrassment, shame. The principal turns to them. Outside, Miss Rita finds Samir sitting under a tree reading a small prayer book. She walks up slowly. "You were right. About everything." He closes the book and looks up. Truth always comes, even if it arrives late. She places a letter in his hand. "The school wants you back, and they want to apologize publicly." Samir shakes his head gently. "No need for big speeches. I just want to clean the floors in peace. I suggest you take your son home. He is suspended until further notice." "Uncle, my water bottle leaked. Can you help me clean it?" Samir smiles warmly. "Of course, Beta." And just like that, life returned to the forgotten hallways. But something had changed. Respect had begun. Quietly. Sometimes the quietest people carry the loudest truths. Early morning. Samir enters the school gates again. Samir stepped back onto school grounds. Quietly. No grand welcome. No applause. No banners. But this time there was respect in the air. Students moved aside. Teachers nodded in acknowledgement. Even the security guard saluted. He hadn't become a hero. He had just reclaimed his honor. Principal, Mr. Samir, on behalf of the school, I apologize. We doubted the wrong man. Ms. Rita smiled softly. It took time, but the truth stood strong. Samir gave a humble nod. I don't want anything, sir. Just let me keep working. And just like that, Samir returned to his place, not on a throne, but on a simple stool, with a mop beside him, where he felt at peace. The school knew what had happened, the videos, the fake accusation, the suspension. Now, students whispered again, but this time, it was about Rayan. Bro, can you believe it? He tried to frame the janitor. For what? Just to cancel an exam. That's messed up, man. Reputation travels fast, but karma travels faster. Rayan, listen, we're going to lose that exam. I didn't study. If we plant the wallet and make it look like a theft, the principal will get distracted. We say there's money in it, and the janitor took it. Faizan, nervously, isn't that too risky, man? Rayan, no one cares about a janitor. Trust me, but trust is a dangerous weapon, and Rayan had misused it. Mr. Ahmed, a successful businessman, stands quietly. Rayan, you've embarrassed this family. Rayan, angrily. Why is everyone acting like I'm a criminal? It was just a prank. Mr. Ahmed's voice rises. You lied. You framed an innocent man. You made us threaten a school. Then, he does something unexpected. You're coming with me. We're going to see Mr. Samir. Rayan's eyes widen. What? Why? Because you will apologize. Not by message, not by email, face to face. A black luxury car pulls up. Out steps Mr. Ahmed and Rayan. Some students stop and watch. Mr. Ahmed walks straight to Samir. Sir, we've come to say sorry. Rayan stares at the ground. Samir continues sweeping. It's all right. Mr. Ahmed insists. It's not all right. My son must speak. Rayan steps forward. Slowly. Uncle, I was stupid. I made up that whole thing. I thought no one would care. I just wanted the test canceled. I didn't think it'd go this far. Silence. Samir looks at him, eyes soft but deep. Words are easy, Beta. Change is harder. Then Samir walks away, not in anger, but with the quiet dignity of a man who didn't need revenge. Ms. Rita stands in front of her grade 10 English class. We often talk about justice in books, but today we saw it in real life. She walks over to the board and writes, Character is what you do when no one is watching. The class is silent, some kids tear up, some look down in guilt, and some start thinking about life differently. Faizan approaches Ms. Rita. Ma'am, I knew what Rayan was planning. I didn't stop him. Ms. Rita, why didn't you? Faizan shrugs. I was scared. He's popular. I didn't want to become the enemy. She nods. Silence protects the wrong. Speaking up protects the truth. Faizan looks determined. I want to fix it. Uncle, I should have spoken up earlier. I'm sorry, but I want to help now. Samir smiles gently. Then help others learn. That's more useful than an apology. Faizan nods. A new idea sparks. Faizan and classmates plan a Thank You Samir campaign. Faizan gathers some classmates. They work on posters, print t-shirts, make a video tribute. They name the campaign, Not Just a Janitor. They had never seen him this way. Because sometimes we're blind to kindness until we stop looking at labels. At the end of the video, the screen fades to black and 4 words appear. He kept us clean. The crowd claps, some stand, some cry, and Samir stands at the back, quiet, overwhelmed. Everyone, I messed up, badly. I let pride and pressure guide me. I thought being smart meant tricking others. But real intelligence is owning your mistakes. And real heroes clean our schools, not our reputations. He turns to Samir. I hope you can forgive me. Samir slowly walks up, takes the mic. I forgive you, Beta, not because you asked, but because holding anger is heavier than holding a mop, a moment of redemption. But more than that, a moment of recognition. Principal, from today, we are creating the Samir Scholarship, a fund to help underprivileged children study here, named after the man who showed us that integrity is not about your title, but your actions. Samir's eyes tear up. I never went to school, sir. This means more than you'll ever know. Dreams don't die. Sometimes they wait. And that day, Samir's childhood dream walked through the front gates of Greenfield High. He wasn't just a janitor anymore. He had become a part of something bigger, a symbol of quiet strength. Didn't wear a suit, he didn't carry a degree, but he taught a whole school what honesty really looks like. It had been a few weeks since the truth came out. Greenfield High had changed, not just in rules or in systems, but in spirit. Students now held the door open for staff. They greeted the janitors with respect. Some even started calling Samir, Sir. The air didn't just smell of cleaning products, it smelled like something new. Samir sat on his floor mattress after dinner. He had always lived simply. A fan, a light bulb, a few old books, and a tin trunk where he kept important papers. One envelope sat apart. It had the school's logo, but inside was something strange. He opened it. Dear Mr. Samir, we are honored to inform you that you've been nominated for the National Education Support Hero Award. His hands trembled. What is this? He'd never even received a birthday card. Now the whole country might know his name. As a boy, Samir once sat under a tree outside a school fence. While other kids read from colorful books, he sold boiled eggs to feed his mother. But he would always stare inside. One day, he whispered, to himself, one day, they will call me teacher. Now, fate had found its way back. It was a grand hall, filled with teachers, professors, and scholars. The host announced, and the Education Support Hero of the Year goes to Mr. Samir, Greenfield High. The crowd rose. Samir walked slowly to the stage. No tuxedo, just his school uniform, blue shirt, gray pants. He took the mic and looked at the crowd. I never studied in school. I never read Shakespeare. But I know when a floor is clean, people walk better. And when a heart is clean, people live better. Applause roared. Some teachers wept. Some stood in silence, simply awed. Samir didn't need a speechwriter. His life was the speech. Greenfield High launched the first batch of students under the Samir Scholarship Program. 4 young kids from poor areas were selected. One of them, a shy girl named Alina, clutched Samir's hand tightly. Uncle, I want to be a teacher. Samir smiled. Then one day, you will be giving out this scholarship. Rayan had been quiet ever since his public apology. He now sat on the front bench, did his homework, and most of all, helped others. One day, he walked into the janitor's room. Uncle Samir, I applied for a summer internship at a local shelter. I want to volunteer. Samir looked at him, surprised. Why? Rayan looked away, voice low. Because I want to feel useful again. Samir placed a hand on his shoulder. Then start by forgiving yourself. That's harder than apologizing to others. Ms. Rita gave her students a writing prompt. Write about the person who taught you the biggest lesson in life. Not a celebrity, not a superhero, a real person. Rayan's pen didn't hesitate. He titled his essay, The Man with the Mop Who Cleaned. My Soul. One rainy afternoon, Samir felt dizzy while mopping the hallway. He sat down quietly. Miss Rita noticed and rushed to him. "Are you okay?" Samir smiled weakly. "Just tired, maybe a little old." He was taken to the clinic. The diagnosis: mild heart fatigue, likely from years of physical labor without rest. The principal called a meeting. "Samir has done enough. We must ensure he rests." Miss Rita raised a hand. "What if we offered him something new?" "Like what?" "Let him run the library, teach students life skills. Let him mentor." The staff agreed. Samir was offered a new role. Student welfare and life mentor title no one had held before, because it had been created for him. Children gathered around Samir, who now wore glasses and sat behind a wooden desk. He read simple moral stories, told them tales from his village, explained what honesty, courage, and kindness look like, not in books, but in real life. One boy raised a hand. "Uncle Samir, did you ever make a mistake?" Samir chuckled. "Many, but I always cleaned it up, just like I cleaned the floors." Laughter filled the room. Wisdom had found a new way to reach them. With the award money, Samir returned to his hometown, a dusty village where he once sold eggs. He built a small reading hut there, painted it blue and white. Named it the Clean Start Library. Children from nearby farms came in groups. He taught them how to hold a book, and how to hold their heads high. Months later, Samir decided it was time to step back. He didn't want fanfare, but Greenfield High had other plans. A farewell was arranged in the courtyard. Students held up signs. "Thank you, Uncle Samir. You swept more than floors. You swept our hearts." Not all heroes wear capes. Some carry mops. Standing in front of hundreds, Samir spoke, "I came here to clean." But in the process, I learned too, that even if the world throws dirt at you, you must stay clean from the inside. Never think small of yourself. I never wore a tie, but I wore truth. I never carried a degree, but I carried dignity. He raised his hand slowly, tears in his eyes. "And now, I leave not as a janitor, but as your student. Samir, 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 no longer invisible, no longer ignored." He walked out through the same gate he had entered years ago. But this time, the whole school stood watching, and everyone clapped. A small plaque now stands near the school's library, in honor of Mr. Samir, who showed us what it means to truly clean. And every year, on the same date, the school celebrates Kindness Day, where students sweep classrooms, serve tea to staff, and write one kind letter to someone they never thanked. The janitor with a forgotten name had become a man remembered forever. He didn't leave behind money. He didn't leave behind fame. But he left behind something greater, respect. And when you leave behind respect, you never truly leave.